Welcome back to Checkerboard Chats. This is episode 2, and we have a big guest to start us off. We have the Pac-12 Commissioner Teresa Gould with us today.
Welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. It's really a pleasure to have this opportunity today to be with both of you and talk about all things Pac-12, all things Fresno State, and just to have an opportunity to talk to your passionate Red Wave fan base.
Absolutely. I know that they're excited to hear from you. We're excited to hear from you. So again, thank you for joining us today.
And when you started this reformation of the Pac-12, what went into the members that you brought in? What were the factors that you were looking for?
Well, we were very, very intentional and deliberate about what we were looking for in terms of bringing new members into the league. I think there were a number of things that come to mind. I think first and foremost, we were looking for member institutions that want to compete and have been competing at the highest level, right? We believe very firmly, based on the metrics, that we are a top 5 conference nationally when you look at the competitive landscape across the country. So we were looking for programs that are willing to invest to be able to compete at the highest level of college athletics. We were also looking for really strong brands that are nationally recognizable, nationally relevant in the college athletic landscape, and also really athletic departments and university communities that are passionate about college athletics. There's a little bit of an element of fandom, and we wanted to bring to the new Pac-12 communities that are passionate about their sports teams, communities that follow their sports teams, show up at games, and really support their programs at a high level. And also universities and athletic departments that are really committed to the student athlete experience. Institutions that really believe passionately in the role that college athletics can play in the development and maturation of our student athletes. So those were some of the key criteria that we were looking for as we were identifying potential new members to really build the new Pac-12.
You talked about the passion, and I know that the Red Wave has no shortage of passion. Coming to games, whatever it might be, soccer, baseball, basketball, whatever sport you go to, you see that passion. You see the people just overly excited. What was it about Fresno State that maybe stuck out to you guys? Or was it something that you're like, this is an automatic? What was that thing for our fans specifically that made you guys choose us?
Yeah, well, I would say first and foremost, the competitive track record of Fresno State athletics, whether it's the national championships in softball and baseball, the long-standing history of Fresno State football, and really a legacy in the Central Valley with Fresno State football, and kind of what your program has represented in terms of play anybody, don't back down, and quite successfully have competed at the highest level and beat programs that might be resourced better or have more established brands. But Fresno State has been competitive at the highest level, and we knew that there was an institutional commitment to that, to continuing that competitive excellence across all sports. So that was, I think, the first thing that stood out to us, is that Fresno State really had a proven track record of competing at the highest level. I think the second thing, as we talk about brand and fandom, Fresno State is kind of the heart and soul of the Central Valley in the state of California. And I've been fortunate enough to live in California for over 30 years now, and there's nothing quite like the fan support and the passion and the commitment of Fresno State fans and how they support their teams. So those things were really critical and important to us as we looked to rebuild the Pac-12. And Fresno State is really one of a kind in terms of the community support that the programs have, not just in the Central Valley, but really all over the country.
When you look at the new Pac-12, what do you want the brand to be or the mentality to be for this group of universities?
Well, I really appreciate you bringing that up, because one of the things I haven't mentioned yet is, I think one aspect of the new Pac-12 that I'm really excited about is kind of the philosophical alignment that we have across all 9 member institutions. Of course, we want to compete at the highest level. Of course, we want to have nationally relevant brands. Of course, we want to support our student athletes. But one thing that we have that I think will set us apart is the alignment around the mindset and who we want to be. And I said from day one, when I got hired into this position, that we are going to be bold, we are going to be aggressive, we're going to be open-minded to doing things differently than other conferences do them. And I think we have that alignment across our 9 university presidents, across our athletic departments and our athletic directors. And I think Fresno State really embodies that. Like, Fresno State is a place that for me really characterizes grit, really characterizes relentlessness, and really like pushing the status quo and doing things differently in a way that has set them apart from so many other programs. So I think that philosophical alignment and what Fresno State brings to the table with kind of that blue collar fight and resilience is right in line with who we want to be.
Talking about the doing things differently, obviously the other day just announced the second media partnership in the conference with the CW, following up CBS's commitment to going forward. But new things, obviously you guys are still working behind the scenes on what those new things are going to be, but how is the new Pac-12 moving forward? How are you guys changing the landscape of college athletics, whether it be through media partnerships, whatever it might look like? What is the goal there with that?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I think with the landscape around us changing, and everything in college athletics is changing. Like, nothing is the same now as it was even 3 years ago or 5 years ago. It really requires us as a new league, as we launch the new Pac-12 on July 1 of 2026, we truly have a blank slate to recreate and reimagine something completely new and different that positions us favorably in this new landscape that we're competing in. I think one real point of difference for us is Pac-12 Enterprises. And Pac-12 Enterprises is a for-profit subsidiary of the Pac-12 Conference that is a multimedia machine, a top-of-the-line, best-in-class entity in the Bay Area that is able to produce live sporting events, live content, and other multimedia content. And I think our new members would tell you that Pac-12 Enterprises was a huge reason why they wanted to join the new Pac-12. And I think it's a point of difference that can really set us apart in terms of our commercial revenue model, as well as, how we kind of promote and brand the new Pac-12.
What excites you about this conference?
Well, I think everything, quite candidly. I am chomping at the bit. I have a countdown clock on my computer between now and July 1 of 2026. I am chomping at the bit to, kick off and start competing in sports and engaging with coaches and student athletes. But I think the thing that excites me the most is the really unique opportunity that we have that no other conference has, right? There has not been a new league launched at the Division I level for over 25 years. The fact that we get to do that in an environment in college athletics right now where everything is changing and shifting, I think for us is a tremendous competitive advantage. So I'm just really looking forward to all of the hard work paying off starting July 1 of 2026. I'm really looking forward to the vision of our 9 university presidents and our 9 athletic directors coming to fruition and really doing something that's really special so that the unique Pac-12 experience that I know we're going to provide can impact generations of student athletes across these 9 campuses moving forward.
You talked about the ever-changing world of athletics. Nobody knows that better than yourself, maybe, but going forward, it's like playing chess and checkers at the exact same time. What does the next year, 2 years, 5 years, what does that look like? What are you guys looking at? What numbers and data and all that are you guys looking at to make sure that you're staying ahead and staying on top of things and keeping everything not just relevant, but edge cutting to make sure that this conference is set up to continue its success?
Yeah, well, I would say, certainly the House settlement and having clarity around the House settlement provides some strategic direction and an opportunity for us to be leaders in terms of supporting student athletes and in terms of accelerating economic value for our student athletes. And again, I think Pac-12 Enterprises gives us a competitive advantage in that regard. I think we certainly will always learn from what's going on around us, but I think the most exciting thing for us is our opportunity to do things differently and kind of blaze our own trail and kind of create our own lane, if you will. Our aspirations are really clear. We want to compete at the highest level, be a top 5 conference, have relevant brands, support our student athletes, and have fans that are engaged with our conference, whether that means showing up and buying tickets or engaging on social media or what have you. Those are our goals and our aspirations. And I think we have a unique opportunity to build something that supports that moving forward. We're certainly keeping a close eye on what's happening in terms of a federal solution. There's a lot of challenges in college athletics right now. And, we're very, very active in the government relations space to make sure that our voice is being heard and that we are doing what's best to solidify the future of our industry.
And what are you looking forward to about Fresno? Is there any stops on your list, any games you want to go to, or?
So I love Fresno. Just to give the audience a little bit of context and perspective, I'm from a small farming community in the state of Iowa. And so Fresno feels like home to me. It
right
truly
in.
does. When I spend time in that region of California with all the agriculture and all the rich history and the beautiful outdoor space and kind of the community focus of the people who live in that region, it definitely makes me feel right at home and very comfortable. And I love it. Every time I visit Fresno, I love it. And the last time I was there, I returned home to a care package at my house with all kinds of great, fruit and products from the region. And I just thought, wow, what a special place this is. So I look forward to, going to a football game. I really do like the fandom there and, just the energy and the kind of passion of the community in that stadium is incredible. So I definitely look forward to that, but really more than anything, look forward to meeting your student athletes and partnering with your coaches as we build the new Pac-12.
Absolutely. I know that we're excited to get you here. We'll have to get a game circled on the calendar for football so you can join us, maybe 2 if we're lucky. Is there anything else about where the conference is headed in the next, 11 months or so, before we jump into the official start of the Pac-12? Is there anything else that our fans should know about, that the world should know about, that you want to share?
Yeah, well, I would just say, much of the focus over the last, 6 to 9 months has really been about kind of our big public-facing strategic priorities, right? I think the fans have been following closely around membership as we've added new members. I know the fans are particularly interested in our media rights partnerships and where they can find Fresno State athletics games. We've made great progress in those areas. We certainly still have more work to do. But a lot of our work right now has pivoted over to what I consider to be kind of the operational imperatives and all the work that has to be done to be ready to go on July 1 of 2026. Like, we had an opportunity earlier today. We met with a couple of our head coaches groups. We've got schedules to confirm. We've got championships to make sure that we're prepared with a site and a format. We have staff that we have to hire, and there's just so much work that has to be done for us to be ready to go to deliver a new Pac-12 that really makes all of our schools and our communities proud. And that's what we're working really hard to do is the Pac-12 is a historic legacy brand. And there are certainly expectations around that in terms of building something and delivering something to our student athletes that they deserve and that they will be proud of.
Yeah, well, I love to hear that. And we're really excited. 11 months away, we're counting down too. So
we are so excited to be able to talk with you today about all this. And we're excited to meet you when you are able to make it here. And we'll get you the home cooking of Fresno, and they'll show their love for you as well. So again, we really appreciate you jumping on with us today and sharing a little bit about your vision and where we're headed in the next several months. And then July 1 will be here before we know it.
Awesome. I really do appreciate the opportunity today. Your fan base is absolutely incredible, and you all have so many programs that you should be so proud of. And we couldn't be more proud to have Fresno State in the Pac-12. And I am beyond honored to be able to work with you all and support this new journey that we're all on.
Awesome. Well, That was the Pac-12 Commissioner Teresa Gould. And again, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back here on the Checkerboard Chats. And welcome back to the Pawd Checkerboard Chats. We're here now with Cam for Cam's Cut-Ups, a new segment where we're going to break down some of the film from the last game. More like he's going to break some of that film down. And we're going to let you guys and myself learn a little bit more insight about football in general. Cam, first, just kind of take us back to Kansas. You're on the sideline. What did you see? What did you take away from that game?
Yeah, I saw a really good Kansas football team play a home opener with a $450 million renovated stadium, played with energy. They're well coached. They had a 6-year quarterback who's very experienced. I mean, they looked like a team ready to take the next step in the Big 12. And I think Dogs started out quick, scored on their first possession, and then I think just kind of the discrepancy in talent just kind of took over. Kansas was very talented, very big, very physical, but also extremely well coached. And when game one under head coach Matt Ince on the road against an opponent like that, that opponent needs to make mistakes. You need them to hurt themselves a little bit, and Kansas was so efficient. They were so productive offensively. They were so sound defensively. The Dogs just ran into a buzzsaw on Saturday night.
Now, how hard is a Week 0 game? You said that you played in a couple of them in your time here, but you're getting started before everybody else. There's no football on, maybe one game on. We watched the Kansas State-Iowa State game in Ireland, but you don't really have that juice to kind of get you flowing in the morning other than what you bring to yourself. How hard is that?
Yeah, it's tough. There's no football. You haven't, when football season starts, you start watching football. You get into the groove a little bit. You start to watch future opponents maybe and assess where they are. It's just you and a team in Kansas with a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. You don't really know who the guys are, what they're going to run. So there are so many unknowns, and you just haven't gotten into the football groove, right? You get that first hit out of the way. Sometimes it feels good. Sometimes you get that first game out of the way, those nerves, that anxiousness, those jitters, they all just kind of fall away. And then as you move forward the rest of the season, the 11 games on your schedule, it feels like football after that.
Yeah, as you and Pat always say, it's no excuse, but it's also understandable at the same time sometimes. And so now as we go into the new week, we were talking about some guys that stood out to you. Let's go back to that Kansas game a little bit. We're going to break down who's that first guy that really stood out to you, that had that effort, that had what you thought was a solid showing in their first game as a Bulldog too.
Yeah. Shout out Elijah Gilliam, got into the end zone. So we could have highlighted him, but I wanted to look on the defensive side of the football and a couple of Bulldogs who made their Bulldog debut, starting with Finn Claypool, transfer from Drake, extremely productive at Drake, but it's a different level of football. How is he going to respond to competing at a higher level? And let me tell you, Fresno State fans, the 4-paw on the side of the helmet, Finn Claypool in game one, he represented what that 4-paw means. It means you're in a dogfight. It means you're going to play with relentless effort. And if we take a look at the one sack Fresno State got defensively on Saturday night, it was Finn Claypool. And it was what I think epitomizes Finn Claypool as a football player, just relentless pursuit to the football, relentless effort from snap to whistle. He's lined up outside. Fresno State actually sends a pressure on this third down. He takes on a block, but also gets chipped by the back. So he's fighting through basically a double team, getting to Jalen Daniels, who we saw Saturday night.
He's quick.
One of the more athletic quarterbacks Fresno State will see all year. Daniels starts to escape. Finn Claypool continues to pursue and finally gets him down. I mean, it wasn't technique. It wasn't he used his hands in the right way. It wasn't his footwork was perfect. It was he was not going to stop until he brought Jalen Daniels down on that snap. That's the type of relentless effort. That's the type of relentless pursuit that you have to play with as a defense to be successful. And on Saturday night, Finn Claypool represented that every snap he was on the football field.
Yeah, I remember Pat saying last week when we sat here talking that Finn Claypool was an effort guy. You can't teach that kind of effort, and obviously that's just one play, but you said that throughout the whole game you saw that from him, and that offensive line of Kansas was good, but for a guy coming up to this level for the first game of his career. You said that he showed out.
Yeah, I mean, he relished the opportunity to play at the highest level. That's why he's here at Fresno State, right? That's why he left a place where he was very productive to test himself. Can I hang with whoever is across the line of scrimmage from me? And he showed Saturday night, he's ready. Trust me, when Finn Claypool is playing Mountain West opponents, he is going to wreak havoc in the offensive backfield, not just in the pass rush, but against the run too. He is a complete defensive end.
Now, Finn, the D-line, they're going to be bigger and better this week. They're going to take on Georgia Southern offensive line that maybe isn't as big or isn't maybe as good as a Kansas offensive line. But who was that other person that you said stood out and led the team in tackles this week?
Yeah, Jaden Pearson, again, two transfers who came into this Fresno State program that represented better than everybody else on that defense what Bulldog defense is. It's flying to the football. It's relentless effort. It's not stopping until the job is finished. And as much as we talked about Finn Claypool, I think Jaden Pearson took that a level above. If you watched that game Saturday night, there was one guy moving at a completely different speed on defense than everybody else on that Fresno State side, and it was Jaden Pearson. Not just effort, not just intensity, but physical skill set. I mean, the first play we're going to watch, Jaden Daniels comes up, makes a check at the line of scrimmage, right? I thought they were going to run to the wide side of the field. They take it into the boundary. Jaden Pearson immediately recognizes where the ball's going, gets to a gap that isn't his, moves further than his responsibility should take him to make a nice tackle on a really athletic quarterback. But just diagnosing, Jalen Daniels makes that check. Jaden Pearson communicates a check to his defense. And then as soon as he recognizes speed option, takes a direct path to the football. He's lined up opposite of where the ball went, and he was able to run Jalen Daniels down. We saw Saturday night, and we've seen over his 6-year career, the dude is dangerous. There will not be a quarterback that Fresno State plays that is as dangerous with the ball in his hands as Jalen Daniels was. We go to the next play, kind of same thing. Jaden Pearson lined up away from where the ball ends up on the play, but diagnosing, where's my responsibility? Where's this ball going to go, and how quickly can I get there? Again, works his way through a block, moves quick enough so the offensive lineman can't get out to him, and just runs Jalen Daniels from inside out, again, making a tackle in space, which is a really tough proposition. And I think the last play that we're going to take a look at really epitomizes more than anything the effort and the relentless pursuit that Jaden Pearson showed on Saturday night. This is Jalen Daniels getting out, making a big play. And without Jaden Pearson's pursuit, not sure how big the game would have been. He's on the opposite side. He comes all the way across the field, then balances up and makes a tackle in space. Again, that's the type of effort that 11 guys need to bring on Saturday night. If all 11 guys on the football field played like Jaden Pearson and Finn Claypool on Saturday night, Red Wave's going to be real happy in Valley Children's Stadium Saturday night.
Yeah, and those are just two of the guys. Obviously, there are other guys that made a ton of good plays. Those are the big plays that stood out to you. But when you talk about what that relentless effort looks like, obviously everybody's out there and they're giving it their all. But what is that extra edge that you see in the tape that sticks out? What are those things that they're doing that sticks out to you?
Yeah, I think on the defensive side of the ball, it's, are you running to the football? Are you getting 11 hats on the ball carrier? Are you getting there with bad intentions, right? Are you trying to, inflict as much physical, try and impose your physical will as much as you can on an opponent, right? That's what defense is about. We're all about blowing things up. We're trying to destroy all the hard work that you've done offensively, and it takes effort, but it takes 11 guys with effort, playing with that type of mindset. When I get to the ball, I'm going to make sure that they feel what Fresno State defense is like in Valley Children's Stadium. That's what I'm looking for on Saturday night. So
as we turn the page, we look at the Georgia Southern team and we look what they're going to bring to the table. But what, you already said that they got to bring that kind of effort. But what does it take for all 11 of those guys to completely shut the team down, to completely just take that offense out of it?
Yeah, I think, the good thing is the Dogs have played a game, right? They watch the tape. They made corrections. They understand the areas that they need to improve in game 2. So, all of those, like, there are a lot of guys playing their first college game, a lot of guys playing their first college game with a Bulldog helmet on. All that anxiety is now subsided, right? You're going to be at home. You get to sleep in your own bed. You get to eat mama's cooking if she's around here. I mean, all the things that make you feel good at home, the Dogs are going to have on Saturday night. It's just a comfort level that they didn't have on Saturday. Early in the game, but as Kansas just continued to execute, as that crowd got into it, it was a really tough environment, a really tough test. This is not going to be as intense, right? You're going to be at home. When you make a play, the crowd's going to cheer. You can feed off that energy. So, I think just the coaching staff working on improving the areas that were subpar last week to make sure week 2 we're going to do things up to the level of expectation that we set for this program. And I have no doubt that the Dogs on Saturday night are going to live up to that.
Yeah, it should be a good one. I know that you're going to be down there on the sideline.
Yep.
You're going to give us our next cut up next week. And as we look into that home game, when you're on defense, you're on the field. I mean, you did it in 2001, the biggest crowd in history. What is it playing like at home? Or what is it like to play at home and have that crowd on your side? 4 downs, it is just ruckus loud.
Yeah, I mean, you might be really, really tired. It might be late in the 4th quarter. You've been on the field for 75 snaps. But when that crowd gets loud, like, you feel that energy. You feel it. Like, it gives you a jolt of energy. It helps you finish the way that you want to finish. I mean, you can really absorb the red wave, especially, man, on defense when they get loud, making it hard for an offense. You get a false start or a delay game penalty because of the crowd, then it gets even louder. So I can't overestimate the impact that the crowd can make on a football game. It's infectious. And when you make plays, the crowd gets loud. You want to make more plays, so the crowd gets louder. And it's just a vicious cycle of energy that you can utilize. And I'm really looking, it's been way too long since we've been in Valley Children's Stadium for a Dogs home game. I'm really looking forward to Saturday night.
He'll be there. I'll be there. Hopefully you guys are there as well. That's our newest segment with Cam Worrell. We'll bring this to you guys weekly. We'll have some cut-up tape that he's going to go through and give you a little more in-depth analysis, offense, defense, special teams, whatever it might be. So we'll see you guys next week for this segment, but we'll be right back here on the Pawd Checkerboard Chats. And welcome back here to the Pawd Checkerboard Chats. We're joined now by Danny Reed. Danny, thank you for jumping on with us and talking a little football today.
Guys, my pleasure. I know our fans are really looking forward to this weekend. It's not just 1, but 2 games out in Cali, and people have been talking about this for a while, and now that it's here, it's here. So we're about to hop a plane and make a 5-hour flight, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the vibe like out there? Obviously, we started our season last week in Kansas and didn't have the turnout that we wanted, but you guys get to start week 1 now. What's the vibe out there for you guys?
Well, it's either 97 degrees or 10 inches of rain. There's not really a whole lot of in between once you get to this part of August, but it's a little different in one way because the last time Georgia Southern started a season on the road was 2019, and that was in LSU against a team that ended up being one of the best in college football history. Still have nightmares about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. But this chance to go to California, never played a team from California. Eagle football's never been to California, and to do it twice with Clay Helton's former team in USC on the back half of this. And it's been publicized the team's going to be staying out there the entire week, getting there on Friday and then not leaving until after the USC game the following Saturday. So it's going to be about 9 days, some time in Fresno, some time in Oxnard, going to the Cowboys facility they just left as they're getting ready for the start of the season. And then it'll be a little bit more than a day in Los Angeles, leaving on Friday after that morning walkthrough in Oxnard. And talking with our ops director, this is not something that was put together in the last couple of months. This has been in the works for more than a couple of years. And it's a testament to the alignment of athletics and the university to have this all blessed and be able to pull off something like this, because there's going to be a lot of stories that come out of these 9 days, but just the fact that we can take an entire football team and set up camp for more than a week is a pretty compelling thing, and how much Georgia Southern values this program.
Yeah, the cargo for that trip must be full, whether it's the truck, the plane, the multiple trucks. Yeah, you got a whole house coming out here with you guys.
So what has the message to the team been from the coaching staff about this 10-day-long trip to California with 2 games?
You hear the cliches. It's a business trip. You're going to get one and then you're going to get the other one. The results are going to come from the level of preparation and how that's exactly going to go down in between Fresno and USC with having not a full scout team and being off site. And usually the time that you're spending in between games, you're always coming back to your home base. It's not like a weekend baseball series or a minor league road trip where you're off site for more than a week, or even in the case of some of those basketball weekends where if you have travel partners, sometimes you're leaving Wednesday or Thursday and you're not getting back until Sunday or Monday. So this is highly different for this team. But in addition to making sure they get their work done on the field, academic advisors are traveling, so they will be taking care of their schoolwork in the mornings. I think they're setting up early afternoon practices. They're going to try to keep it as similar as it is in Statesboro. Whatever the weather does, the weather does. The ability to practice on grass is going to be a big deal because the USC game is the only time that Georgia Southern will play on grass this year. And I know that the administration is working on a couple of things to get them off-site in Oxnard from the facility, just to let them know that, okay, there is another football game after this football game, but we want to make sure that this is a trip that you guys can enjoy. Yeah, you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward on the field and taking care of your classwork, but to maximize this in all ways by letting them soak in something that Eagle football has never done and may never get to do again, you got to get the most out of that.
Absolutely, and you get to do 10 full days in our beautiful state of California, so make the most of that and enjoy all that you can. Talk a little football shop now. 4 all-conference picks on the offensive side. We'll start with that side of the ball. What's dangerous about that side? What are you guys looking forward to? What is kind of the talk of the town right now with that side?
The depth at wide receiver, in a way, you've got a lot of top-line talent. You've got guys that are capable. The word depth is, I don't want to say it's a misnomer. There are guys that can make a lot of plays with Josh Dallas and Dalen Cobb coming back. Marcus Sanders played really well down the stretch. And then the guys that have done some things at other places, like a Dylan Gary at West Georgia. Brian Green's going to make his collegiate debut on Saturday. He spent the last 2 years at Florida. Camden Brown, everybody's really excited about, a big play guy potential that's played 37 games at Auburn over the last 3 years. At tight end, you have returners like a J.P. McKell and an Elijah Walton, just a handful of snaps between those two over their 4 combined years. And then the transfers with River Helms having played for Clay Helton's brother Tyson in Western Kentucky. He hasn't caught more than 22 balls in a season. He's off a season-ending injury, but he looks the part of somebody that you can get the ball to quickly, that proverbial security blanket, if you will, even for an offense that's going to move pretty quickly. And then getting a tight end from a rival in Amon Green from Georgia State in this conference, about 200 miles away up in Atlanta. He spent some time with the Panthers. They did have a coaching change last year, and I think the change in scheme maybe wasn't the best fit for him, but ever since he has been on campus, and especially in fall camp, he has really emerged. I like what he gives the Eagles from the sense of blocking. The other first-team All-League guys preseason, your starting guards, and Pishon Wembley and Caleb Cook. Caleb Cook thought he was going to be a first-teamer. I think that he took it a little bit personally that he was named a third-teamer last year, but the media and the coaches got things right going into this season. He's excited to put his best foot forward. And with Pishon Wembley, he has started every game since he has gotten here 39 games ago. He has been a stalwart at left guard. You basically have 2 starters at center with Chance Carroll and Chandler Strong, 2 new tackles, Johnny Brown, who's probably going to start this weekend at right tackle if Robert Wright does not return from injury. It's questionable at best, but Johnny has gotten a lot of those 1 reps. I think they're just going to have to wait and see. I think both have potential to play, but Johnny has gotten a little bit more of the time. He was the goal line fullback last year, only saw a handful of snaps, but those were the few times that Georgia Southern was going under center. Looks like Kalen Williams has locked down that left tackle spot in his 6th year in the program. He is somebody that came in from Dublin, which is about an hour and a half up the road. He has really improved over these last 2 years. He made 2 starts a year ago for Don Boyd, who ended up getting to camp with the Raiders. And then with running back, Jalen White was a 3,000-yard guy, finished up his eligibility last year. O.J. Arnold, David Bedinga, Terrence Gibbs have had chances. O.J. has been a starter mediocre at times, but now he comes into his senior year. And then it's exciting to see what guys like a Jamarian Samuel, a Teo Todd, and a Bryce Baker, more the hammer on the inside, are going to be able to do. And with Ryan Applin in his second year calling plays, I do think they will take a step, not just from the guys that they have back, but the way they've incorporated some of the new pieces.
So an old piece, well, not an old piece, we're in his second year, right, as your starting quarterback with J.C. French. So describe him as a quarterback and what he brings to the offense.
You almost don't recognize him. The coach has made a big point that he's changed his body since the end of last year. He's down 8% body fat. He's lost 15 pounds. And a lot of it goes back to the conversation that those two had in the tunnel at the Superdome after the bowl loss to what turned out to be a 10-win Sam Houston team. He said, Coach, after a 4-interception game and a 5-turnover game, he said, Coach, that's never going to happen again. And something clicked inside of him. He's in the best shape he's ever been in. He's watching more film than he has ever watched before. He was named captain last week, one of the 4. These guys are really looking to him, not just to the guy who's going to take every snap, but the guy that can lead this offense and this team. People are gravitating to him. When he transferred in from Memphis in 2023, he was definitely talented. He was more of the gunslinger. He was drawing some natural comparisons to a Baker Mayfield, if you will, but he only played 48 snaps that year behind Davis Brin. Last year, he won a 3-way battle to take over the job right around this time. So he hadn't started a game as we sit here 1 year later. Ended up throwing for more than 300 yards against Boise, a game that Georgia Southern almost won against a team that went crazy last year with Ashton Genty. There were times where he wished he could have had some things back. There were some ball security issues, and he's been very upfront with that. But the elevation that he has made to his game with the commitment that he has made off the field, I think Eagle fans are going to be very pleased with what they see from him, not just throwing the football, not just running the football, but just the way that these guys have expected him to step up because he has.
The other side of the ball now with the defense, also have a ton of all-conference guys on that side, and you got a lot to be happy about. And what are you guys looking forward to and seeing with that side of the ball? How's the defense playing? How's that shaking out? Position battles were won. What does that look like for you guys?
You know, we were talking about that with Coach Heldon earlier this week on Hail Southern Live. At certain times last year, Georgia Southern, according to Pro Football Focus, was the top tackling team in the league, but they also had the worst third down defense in school history. They gave up almost 47%, and practical instance of that was the Troy game. Troy came to town. They were a 2-win team, even though they had just won the week before. They dominated Coastal. They changed their offense and could not get them off the field on third down, lost a 1-score game, and that was one of those that probably kept Georgia Southern out of representing the East in the conference championship game. But Brandon Bailey is mixing some things up this year. He's calling plays for his third year. He's going to be calling the defense from on the field this year. That's a switch. He had been a booth guy. He has done both historically, but he is going to be calling the defense from on the field this year. And the guys that he has to work with, Latrell Bullard in the middle of that defensive line, about 350. I think he's got All-American potential. He commands attention. Somebody that I don't see just as having an impact this year, but I think he could play at the next level. And to complement him, a couple of transfers from Arkansas State and Quan McKinney and Caleb Moore from Southern Miss. The defensive ends, they've gotten bigger. They've gotten a little bit quicker. You'll see Deshaun Davis on pass rushing situations. On one side, Davion Rhodes, the guy they call Chewy, he would likely start. And then maybe the most impressive transformation for defensive lineman from last year to this year is Jacob Ferguson, not just because he's wearing a new number, but he looks thicker as he has been since he got to Statesboro, a guy that had a very successful junior college career. But I think that he has by far his best season here. You got to love what you have at corner depth with Chance Gamble and Tracy Hill returning all conference guys. Dorian Smith is right behind them. He'll see a lot of action inside, replacing 2 linebackers, including the defensive player of the year last year, and Marquez Watson-Trent, who transferred to Nebraska. 2 transfers in Brendan Harrington from Georgia Southern's arch rival in Appalachian State. He's a 7th-year guy. Interesting to get him on both sides of that rivalry, which a lot of people consider the best in all the Group of 5, but also a supremely athletic guy in Brandon Tyson from Elon at the FCS level. About 6'1", 230, runs really well. I think he has a chance to be one of the best defensive players in the league. At safety, Justin Myers is as hard of a hitter as you're going to find. but also building some depth out of the transfer portal with getting Jaden Davis from Georgia Tech. Yes, Georgia Southern has a Jaden Davis too, and also an Antonio White from Rutgers. So how that all fits together, we're going to find out, but the early returns from fall camp, it looks promising.
Who are some true freshmen that should be on the radar?
True freshmen that should be on the radar. Well, how about kicker? That was announced earlier this week that Trip Bryant won the kicking job. He was battling with Austin P transfer in TJ Hartley, and that's going to be the first time that Georgia Southern has started a true freshman kicker since 2021. There have been some guys here and there get pulled up with the ones and twos, but this is largely a roster where you have a bunch of third, fourth, and fifth year guys in this system, whether it's been Coach Heldon overseeing their time here or the last remnants of the Chad Lunsford regime and Kevin Woodley having taken over as the interim over the final 8 games of 2021. But also they picked and chose what they needed from the transfer portal. They didn't want to have the foundation built on guys that were only going to get a year, maybe 2 here. They wanted to make sure that they put that big circle around the state of Georgia, recruited into Alabama, South Carolina, and Florida. That's the recruiting footprint that the great Irk Russell put into practice way back in the early 1980s, and Coach Heldon and staff have done such an awesome job in tapping back into that. But going to the portal where necessary, the receivers on the outside getting a little bit bigger, longer, taller, and then in the back end of that secondary. And that's why you feel good about where all these pieces are, but you feel even better about what they could be if we're talking about this later on in the season.
You talked about a lot of hype that's going into the season. There's a lot of things that are looking up right now. Obviously, you guys haven't started the season, but what makes this season successful for you guys? What is that footprint that you think Helton wants to leave on this season before going into the next? What does that success look like?
The expectations from the Georgia Southern fan base are always super high, and when you consider that they've seen 6 national championships and 11 conference titles, all they really know is winning. So anything that isn't winning, they don't know how to process it. They're passionate, they're nuts in a good way, and hopefully you get a chance to see a little bit of that this weekend at Valley Children's. I know a lot of people have been circling this particular trip for a while, but in my conversations with staff and coach, the previous couple of years, the depth has been getting there. It has been, well, could be. It's been closer and closer. And it seems that all of those could be's from the first 3 years have turned into will be's. They feel so good about the collective depth, and I know that there are a couple of positions that will need to be taken care of and what 1, 2, and 3 is ultimately going to look like. The confidence that these guys have practiced with, the experience that they have specifically in this program, all those reps that have been banked, and even the guys that they have pulled in from the transfer portal. It feels like they've been here for 3 and 4 years themselves, getting quickly acclimated to just how much this program means to this town and the overall culture of the university. But this feels like the year that they have been building towards. Sometimes it's year 3 that people really look to. But to change all 3 schemes pretty radically, going from option to air raid, going from a 3-man to a 4-man on defense. And coach was pretty insistent that, look, we changed our special teams too. Turner West ran things over the first 3 years. He's now an assistant coach with the Buffalo Bills. Enter Blake Wilson, who, is going to be dealing with a freshman kicker, but also a junior punter in Alex Smith, who I think could be the best in the Sun Belt this year. And I think by the time he gets done, he's got All-American potential too, going from being a pro tennis player in Australia to one of the best punters in all of college football has been quite the transformation for him.
It's a transformation for sure. We'll be there, you'll be there, but should we expect to see some extra blue in the stadium this week? What's the fan base travel look like for you guys? You talked about wanting to make that California trip and be out here and enjoy different weather and a little dry heat maybe versus what you guys get, but should we expect some fans to make their way out here to the stadium this weekend?
I know we got the whole red wave deal, but it worries me that Georgia Southern shade of blue and Fresno shade of blue, if we happen to cross over, they might be similar. So we're not complaining. Is that a Fresno? Is that Georgia Southern? Hopefully we'll be able to get a good spot into the stands about where Eagle fans are going to be sitting. But I do think that there are more than enough people that are going to take advantage of this entire week. And we talked earlier about the team, the staff staying out there the whole time. But for Eagle fans, instead of just talking about what the left coast is like, some may have never been there before. And I know that there's some that will only do USC. They want the Los Angeles, the Hollywood experience, rightfully so. But I do think that for people that have planned for long enough, this is one that they will remember for the rest of their lives. I know that they would love to see a couple of victories, but also getting two very different parts of California, going from the Valley down to Southern California and getting 9 days worth of it. That's something, if you can make it work, I think a lot of people can. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, two different vibes for sure.
Very different vibes.
You got the farm to table in the Valley, and you got Hollywood down south.
Last question for me is Texas State has been in the Sun Belt Conference with you for the last couple years. They're going with us to the Pac-12 next year. So what can we expect from their program and their fan base?
It is a beautiful campus. You will fall in love with the barbecue in San Marcos. They have great people working there. Some of their broadcast department are people I consider dear friends. And it was just a couple of years ago that Texas State had the largest budget athletically in the entire Sun Belt before the 4-team overhaul in 2022. And they're finally starting to invest in their major sports, facility-wise, and from their Olympic sports standpoint, especially on the women's side. They've been a cut above. They've been some of the best in the group of five, but they've struggled with consistency in the three major sports. But they're in the process of building and finishing their football facility at Bobcat Stadium. Bobcat Ballpark has a great view just behind the right center field wall, and across the parking lot is where football is situated. And Strahan Arena can hold 10,000 people. They recently renovated that, knocking down what was a drive-through style huge wall behind the basket on the left. They turned it into a club area. It looks like a big-time college basketball venue, and I think that is going to fit very well in the Pac-12. And a little jealous that we're losing that city and that atmosphere from the league, but I understand that they had decisions that needed to be made for the future of their athletic department. We're going to miss them, but I think that the Pac-12 is only going to gain from having Texas State being a part of it.
Well, we appreciate you lending them to us and letting us get to know. We'll have to call you up when we need some food recs.
We need that barbecue recommendation. So
Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Danny, for jumping on. That was the voice of the Eagles, Danny Reed. We'll be right back here on the Pawd Checkerboard Chats.
welcome back to Checkerboard Chats. We're joined by three of our running backs, and Bryson Donelson, Brandon Ramirez, and Elijah Gilliam. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
How's the day been so far for you guys?
It's been good. You know, we had practice earlier. Long and hot. Yeah.
School.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No,
Getting back into it.
Student athletes, right? It's the life.
Sure.
Gotta go through the grind just to be able to play the sport that you guys love, right?
Yeah.
So starting at the beginning, what are your first memories of football, and when did you guys fall in love with the game?
I'll go first. I think I was like 6 years old when I first fell in love with it. You know, I have an older brother who's obviously older, but like got into football, and older cousins and stuff. So I feel like my oldest memory is, you know, just getting those pads and helmet for Christmas one year and just trying to run through everything, hitting the walls, running into parents' legs and stuff, and just being havoc around the house. Just I feel like that's my earliest memory of, you know, getting into football and knowing it was going to be
change, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Brandon?
I would say my earliest memory, you know, same as Gil, about 6 years old. Our Pop Warner team was the Bulldogs, and I remember we would go tailgates and go to games here back when Derek Carr and Devontae Adams was playing, and, you know, just looking up to them and wanting to be like those players, and, you know, finally be able to live out my dream is pretty special.
That's cool. What about you, Bryson?
I was definitely younger than them. I was probably like 4. Grandpa's backyard, you know, all my older cousins and I were playing. We would throw the ball up. Whoever catches it is the only, and everyone's got to tackle them. Yeah, just Grandpa's backyard, just playing with your cousins. I mean, it was definitely fake football. First time getting hit definitely changes, but yeah, just definitely Grandpa's backyard.
Sounds like family was all a big part of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It started with family. It started with older, younger, whoever it was. But what was that like, just being able to run around the backyard and play with your family?
You know, it means everything. It brings family closer together, you know what I'm saying, having barbecues and stuff and just having fun. That was the main thing for us, you know. Growing up, it's obviously a big part of our family, you know, cousins, uncles, all that played it. And, you know, it means a lot to, you know, having that bond with them. You know, we can connect on that level if we're not connecting in any way. I'm not saying that, but, you know, it just brings us closer together, you know. and I feel like that's a big part of it.
Yeah, coming to games when you were younger, you said you've been in that stadium 100 times. Now you're on the field. What is that like now, getting to live out that dream, going from the stands to the field?
Yeah, it's surreal. It's just a dream to get here. All the hard work you put in over the years, it finally comes true. So it's a blessing.
Sure. Bryson, what about you? You playing in backyard, like you were saying? First time
Yeah.
you took a hit, and now you're.
Man, just my family's competitive. It could be from dominoes to horseshoe to Royal Rumble in the bounce house to football. It's always competing growing up.
All three of you had different journeys to Fresno State. So Elijah, why don't we start with you? How did you get here?
So the recruiting process for me wasn't as as I wanted to go throughout high school and stuff. But for me to get here, I know I needed to put that work in. I was posting online, workouts and stuff, and just making sure that I'm ready for when I put my foot in the door, try to get somewhere because I'm a walk on and I had to go different paths like other people. But I feel like my journey to get here, I felt like it just made me who I am today. Without that part of my life, I wouldn't be here today. And I really hold on to that. I think about it sometimes, and I just really dang, I'm blessed to be here. Yeah.
Brandon?
Yeah, I was blessed my junior year to be offered by the Bulldogs. At first, they offered me to play safety. I was recruited by Coach J.D. Williams and Coach Coyle. And it wasn't until a month going into my senior year that Coach Tedford called me. He asked me if I wanted to play running back. And honestly, that was a position I saw myself at more too. So I was hyped about that, and I told him, yeah, let's do it.
I like scoring touchdowns a little more.
Yeah, I like scoring touchdowns more, so hopefully I can get some this season.
Absolutely.
Bryson?
I got recruited by Fresno State. I got offered my sophomore year by Coach J-Mont. I couldn't believe it at first. I didn't know it was real. I thought you at least had to be a junior, But then high school recruiting, it went good. I mean, everything, I can't lie. Everything was kind of handed to me. But at the same time, I know there's people like Gil and Brando, walk onto it to actually earn it. So it's always in my motto, don't get caught, So that's something I have to work for.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's the three different journeys that you guys all took, obviously 3 different hometowns as well.
Yeah.
Getting to represent the Valley and your families from where you guys are from. How cool is that? How special is that to represent this place at this place?
It means everything to me, honestly, because I'm a big family guy. I hold my family close to my heart, and it's why I do all this. I do it for my family, and just being able to, like I said, I was walk-ons, and being able to get the opportunity to stay close to home, it meant everything to me. Of course, I would like to get all the offers and stuff, but I know that this place was home for me. I knew I was gonna stay here. I was gonna put my foot forward and try to do the best I can every day for this program. And I'm just glad that, my parents were with me through that process, and my family, my brother, my sister, everybody. And it really holds a special place in my heart for that, being close to home, not being too far or anything, I'm a big family guy. So yeah, it means a lot.
Grew up right down the street. What was that like, getting that offer and then first day on campus?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride and passion, being where I'm from, Hanford, California. A lot of hard workers. It's a farm town, so a lot of hard work going on over there. And for my family, not a lot of people, no one was able to be a student athlete and be a college playing Division I football. So I don't take it lightly, I just have to work hard, do what they taught me, and, hopefully make them proud.
Did you ever think you'd be a Bulldog growing up, Bryson?
Yes and no. Yes, it was always, I always considered it like a backyard school. It's always so close, backyard, I almost went to Utah, but then me and Coach Pryor, he was like, whatever school you go to, make sure it checks all the boxes. And that's where the question, why leave, first popped up. And I still haven't been able to answer that question. So what am I going to leave for, if I can't answer it?
Speaking of Coach Pryor, what's he like to have as a position coach? And what does he bring to your room to keep you guys close and together?
He just makes sure that we stick together, we're a brotherhood, build that bond between each other, and just, we like to say that, the team is on our back. We like to carry them throughout the game. And I feel like we're such a strong group as a whole, you know, and I feel like we just carry that into every game, every practice, and just know that, you know, like I said, the team is on our back, we feel like, and yeah.
What's his personality like?
Yeah, a lot of energy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's always smiling. You know, if you're around him, he's always smiling. Always has a big smile. He seeks a lot out from us. He demands a lot, but you know, he's the same person on and off the field. He never changes. Good dude all around. And you know, he's really helping us to take our game to the next level.
Yeah, for sure.
All the drills we do is game-like, game situation, and it's really like no racist drills, racist reps with him. So that's what I'm very thankful for.
What's your favorite joke that he told during fall camp?
He tries to tell dad jokes all the time, and he swears they're funny.
His dad jokes are horrible.
They're getting better, but
I'm sorry, AP.
they're getting better, but he tries so hard. Sometimes it's just funny. It's funny to hear him laugh at his own joke.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
What'd you guys think about his Ray-Ban sideline?
Yeah, he be recording his jokes off of, on there.
On the gas cam?
Yeah.
That's genius. He got a, what's that called? Patent it. He got a patent that.
Nice.
Because a bunch of schools going to do that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When you guys see the new coaching staff come in, obviously AP got to stick around with that staff, and that was a big reason that all of you are still here, I'm guessing, too. But when you see that new coaching staff come in and the new philosophy that they bring, they go from a very pass-heavy team under Tedford and Skipper and get into Davis and Entz. Now it's a big run-heavy. Did your eyes light up like Christmas morning? Like,
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, like I'm sure everybody knows, you know, I did hop in the portal for a little bit because I was uncertain of what was going to be coming with the new staff. But, you know, the coaches did a great job of, you know, reaching out to me and talking with me and giving me a better understanding of what they're trying to do with this program. And once they told me that, you know, we're going to be a run team, I was like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm coming right back here, you know. And I can't be more glad than I am right now.
And guy fighting for reps, when you hear that it's going to be a run-heavy team, you know that means a lot of reps. Getting to break into that, we saw you play at Kansas. What was that like, getting to touch the field but then know that system is set up for all three of you guys to be successful?
Yeah, it's exciting, you know. It makes football a lot more fun, you know, when the whole room's involved. Not everyone's, you know, fighting to get on the field because we got a rotation going on. There's multiple different skill sets for different positions that we have and different plays. So, you know, it's really exciting, and I think our best football is ahead of us, and I feel like we're going to put on a good showing this Saturday.
So you're the most experienced room on the offensive side of the ball, but you're also really versatile. So tell us a little bit about your room and your personnel.
I mean, we like I said, we carry the team on our back, we feel like, and, you know, we love to run the ball, but I feel like people don't see that we can catch the ball too. We can go out as a receiver and, you know, route somebody up and get a ball thrown to us and actually make a play on it. So I feel like you said, we are very versatile and we don't have no limits to our room.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we're one of the only groups in the country that has a person for every possibility, you know.
Yep.
Like any circumstance, AP could throw, multiple dudes out there, and we could get the job done, you know.
We saw it last week at Kansas when EJ kind of had that broken play and he quickly just
Oh,
tossed
yeah.
it out to you.
Yeah.
And downfield you
To
went.
be honest, that could have been anybody, you know. All 8 of us could do it.
Yeah. When you guys get into the game and it's go time, you know kind of what your roles are per se. Like if we need a big third down, one of the two, you might go in. If you need a big first, second, short yardage, whatever it might be, you guys all have your roles. But what is that like to be able to pass it off between each other and be so complementary as a room, not just like fighting, I want to be on the field, I want to be here, whatever. What is that like to play complementary football inside of that position?
I think, one, it gives us a chance to catch our breath. You know, the game of football gets tiring at some point. But 2, we're 8 completely different people, you know. Some of us could do things, and some of us, I'm not going to say can do things, but some of us are better at certain stuff, you know. So just finding what pieces belong in, like, what part of the puzzle is definitely where we're at, and we figured out. I think we've almost mastered it. I feel like, I'm not saying we got to move anything around, but, we only play one game. We got a lot more to go, you know. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the future, but I think us 8 can get it done.
For sure. What is that like for you?
Yeah, going off what Bryson says, I feel like it allows all of us to be fresh. you know, our main goal as a unit is to be explosive. So, you know, one person doesn't have to take all the load, you know. We could be able to rotate and, you know, just do our jobs.
Yeah, like they both said, you know, we go out there and we're all competing, but you know, we also don't hate on each other. We like to see each other succeed. And you know, when we get rotated in, like he said, catching our breath and stuff, it gives us a chance to be more fresh and just be able to, you know, go out there and do what we need to do at the highest rate of speed. And you know, it also just shows that we're passionate about what we're doing, and you know, that we're gonna go out there and do what we got to do.
Yeah, and I feel like if I see Gil or Brando pop around, I'm just as excited if I were to do it.
Sure.
You know, that's brotherhood.
It's a room win at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, when we all succeed, the whole room is succeeding.
All right, first home game. What's the best thing about playing at home?
Being home. I ain't gonna lie. Being home.
You don't get booed running into the stadium.
You don't like the boo?
I mean, I don't mind it. It's good to shut them up, but it's way more comfortable playing where you used to practicing it every day, you know? Not having to get on the plane right after the game. You're not crammed. You don't got to sleep in your bed. You get to sleep in your bed before the game. It's more comfortable playing at home.
Oh, yeah. The boos low-key give me a little rush, you know, when we run out there onto the field for the first time and they just booing, I low-key get excited. That makes me more hungry at the end of the day. So, yeah.
But I'm guessing the Red Wave cheers when you're coming out.
Oh, yeah,
or
for
a
sure,
little
for
bit
sure,
more.
for sure. Yeah, the red Wave is something different. You can't get nothing like it.
What was that first time like coming down the ramp and into that stadium for you?
Going down, you know, the ramp with the Red Wave, you know, it's a lot of energy, you know, all the fans, you know. I know that I got some of my family, friends in the crowd, so, you know, it's just a good feeling.
Is there a specific thing on game day that you guys can't wait for? Like, obviously going down the ramp, running out, whatever, like, the fans, it's all cool, but is there like a thing inside the game maybe that's even more fun than just the game itself?
I would say that I can't wait to just get the first play over with, those jitters and stuff. You know, I low-key get a little bit of nerves, but once I get that first hit, first run, you know, I'm ready to go, and it's straight from there.
Do you guys have any game day superstitions or something in your routine you have to do on a game day?
I would say when I get taped, I have to listen to a specific song just so it gets me in that mindset. Okay, it's time to lock in. You know, I wouldn't say I don't want to say the song, but you know, it just gets
You
me
have to name
hot.
drop the song.
You said what? I mean, it's nothing bad. It's just Goat Talk by Polo G and I think Lil Durk. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy.
I can respect
just
that.
have to listen to that song. I don't know.
Superstitious? Nah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say it changes every day, but one day I might want Sour Patch Kids. The next game I might want gummy worms. You know, I eat candy almost every day. Candy's a big thing.
Like before the game, during the game?
Definitely
halftime?
before the game. After the game, straight fruit snacks. Maybe some pickle juice so you don't cramp. But I mean, I feel like I even like pregame stretch differently every time. You know, because your body feels different every day.
Yeah.
It's not people that do the same thing every game day. I don't want to say they're insane, but they're insane. You know. Yeah, that's all
Is
right.
it always sour candies? You said two of them. You said Sour Patch and gummy worms.
No, those Airhead bites.
Oh yeah, those are good too.
Yeah. Those are my three in the rotation.
Okay,
For sure.
okay. What about you, Brandon? Do you have anything?
I wouldn't say I have any superstitions. I just try to have a clear mind, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Try to be confident in myself, you know, just pray before the game.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That could be one. You pray.
No, yeah, I would say that's one for me as well too. You know, I make sure I, give all the thanks to the Lord and stuff. You know, blessed that I'm here in this position every
Amen.
day.
Last question for me. What's your why? Why do you play football?
My mom, but my whole family. But my mom, most importantly, you know, as much as like she poured into me, it'd kind of be like a disappointment if I didn't succeed, you know, because how much she gave to me. But my family, just the support. I mean, that could drive anyone, you know, and that's what drives me.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, you know, my mom and dad, brother, you know, all the things they've sacrificed for me over the years. I feel like I just can't let them down, you know. Got to keep going every day. It's not an easy journey, but, as long as I'm working hard, putting good effort, I can at least say that. So I would just say that.
Yeah. Like they all said, I do this for my family. They've poured a lot into me over the years, my whole life, my siblings' lives, and I just feel like, it's kind of like a payback to them. I want to be able to take care of them one day, and I feel like, this is the outlet for me to be able to show that appreciation for them because they have poured so much into me. And, yeah, I just want to be able to give back to them, and, I just thank them every day that, they're allowing me to be in this position because I know without them I wouldn't be here today. So, yeah.
We're almost to game day. What do you guys want to tell the fans before we get to game day? First game at home in a long time.
Yeah.
What are you guys ready for? What are you excited for? What's it been feeling like all week before you get to play this game? But what do you want to tell them?
I can't wait for the crowd noise. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie. Or the
Crowd noise.
lights when they flicker. I can't wait for that. That gets me going every time. I
Just,
can't lie.
Say show up, back to stadium.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't panic. Week 1 was week 1. Moving on to week 2, and be ready to go.
Show up and expect the RBs to pop off. That's what we owe y'all something. We owe y'all. We gonna provide.
You heard it here. Well, thank you guys for joining us for this segment. That was our running backs, Elijah, Brandon, and Bryson. We'll be right back here on the pod. Welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're joined today by Jake Mastro and Garrett Klassy, our AD and our assistant AD for marketing and fan engagement. Thank you guys for being on. We're glad you're here.
Thanks for having us. First time in the studio. Looks amazing in here.
This is awesome.
Nice work.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. I know that getting you guys here at the same time is always fun and makes for some good conversation.
Yes.
Taylor, what do we got
I'll
today?
take it away. So first we wanted to have these two gentlemen on today because we know that at Fresno State, we don't necessarily have all of the resources as other schools, but it is really important for us to give our fans the best experience that we possibly can. So we've made some game day improvements this year. So we brought them on so they can discuss that with you guys. But first, Jake, let's run through the game themes.
Yeah, so we're really excited about the themes we have this year. I'll go through them real quick. So first off, we open up with Georgia Southern, and that is our Junior Bulldog Kids Club night and our Celebrating Teachers night, pretty much just celebrating back to school and all that encompasses. And then game 2, we have our Heroes Night. So for that, we're honoring all of our first responders, active military veterans, just a way to really honor them for all they've done for our community. Jumping ahead to game 3, so that'll be against Nevada, and that will be our Bulldog Fiesta, so honoring our Hispanic heritage. Fiesta.
Everyone likes a good fiesta.
It's a big party. And then we also have Spirit Fest that night, which is always a fan favorite, having all the kids come on the field, 400 future Bulldog cheerleaders perform with our Spirit Squad. And then jumping into game 4, San Diego State comes to town. That is homecoming, blackout. That's going to be a huge game for us. Everyone loves homecoming. Everyone loves the blackout.
Oh, yeah.
Then jumping ahead to, we got Wyoming. That is our Native American Heritage Night. So we got a lot of special things planned for that game. And then we finish it out with homecoming when Utah State comes to town. And that's a big game for us. Obviously, it's senior night. And on top of that, we're doing a whiteout, and it's our Boots and Buckles night.
Boots and buckles. I love boots and buckles.
Boots and Buckles is probably the best one. Just seeing everybody in their get-ups.
I mean, last year, my first year, everyone had their costume on. It was awesome. And I guess in the Valley, it's not a costume,
No.
right? It's what people wear, and I love it. So I need to get more in the game theme this year.
We
I have
gotta
some
get you
cowboy
some
boots.
boots.
Yes, I have boots. I own 3 pairs of boots. But I need a big bulldog belt buckle. So if any listeners out there know where I can
John
get a
Baxter.
giant,
Talk to John Baxter.
that's yes.
Let's get him the hookup.
Yeah, I mean, well, and when his private cowboy club, I don't know if I have the means that Baxter does on that. But
So we know the whiteouts and the blackouts are always like fun and exciting, but when you get to the Boots and the Buckles, you get to the Native American Heritage. Is there a special one that you guys like more, or like one that sticks out to you more? What's your favorite?
I mean, I guess I'd like to say that, being here a year now, like, it's incredible the actual diversity we have in this region. And to be able to, like, dig deep into these people's cultures and what they believe in and what this valley is made of, it's awesome. And I'm excited to raise my children in a region where there is so many different things that they can experience. And so, listen, we need to have 15 home games to tap into every cultural diversity or things that makes the valley great. But the reality is that we get to tap into some special different cultural and I guess boots and buckle, I guess, isn't necessarily cultural, but it's what makes the Valley great is the grit, the blue collar, the agricultural piece of it. And so we're excited for all of them. I don't know if you have a favorite.
No, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. It is really special to be able to honor so many different groups and to do right by our community. I'm biased, though. I grew up on a cattle ranch, so being able to bring out the cowboy hat,
I didn't
the
know
boots,
that.
I did. I grew up on a cattle ranch.
Were
so
you in costume last year? I don't remember.
I did. I have my
All
cowboy
right.
hat on. So
right.
I'm a little biased to boots and buckles. Got to throw on the
All
cattle
right.
ranch and represent Reedley. I know Taylor knows about Reedley.
That's my high school's rival. Jake and I grew up
Big rivals.
as crosstown rivals. I'm from Sanger. He's from Reedley. There's a mountain that separates, and when you're a senior in high school, you got to climb that mountain and either paint your S on one side or your R on the other side. Sanger was always better at football, and that's what matters.
Are you
But
guys?
Reedley's
I
the
don't want to
best
get in
now.
trouble by HR, but are you guys the same age? Were you guys? Did
No.
you guys know
No,
each other?
I'm
we
older,
weren't there at
I'm
the same
older.
time.
Okay, all right. I'll leave it at
But-
that. I don't need to be written up this week. So.
But we have had an ongoing rivalry for about
Yes.
8 years of working together. So.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good.
For you guys, what are some things that maybe go into selecting theme nights? What are the reasons that we keep some or that we change some, and how do you, I guess, call them a success or not?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. I think you can kind of look at it from a few different elements, right? There's obviously the ticket sales side, right? So what moves the needle for our fan base, but that doesn't tell the whole story, right? So the other side is the community response because, so I think you look at those two areas of, did it move the needle, yes or no? Or did our community respond to it as in, did they show up with their cowboy hats? Did they show up with their boots? And then on top of that, how many groups were we able to connect with and to bring in to help us spotlight the different themes in the different groups? So it's really multifaceted. So I think you kind of just look at it and just take those areas and just try to add it up and see what worked and what didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell Jake this, or any director of marketing that I work with at any college I've been at, he's got the toughest job in an athletic department because everyone thinks they know how to do his job. And they think it's just, you sit around and, hey, see what works. And listen, I give his group a lot of credit. I mean, they've worked really hard, and it isn't just about announcing the theme. That's just where it starts. It's what do you put into it? How do you enhance it from the previous years? And one thing I'll say is that Native American Night is primarily because we have great partners in Table Mountain, and what they're investing in this athletic department so we can compete at the highest level. It's really a big deal to them, and we love celebrating it. And I know that they provided some fan experiential things with T-shirts the last couple of years, but this year they're doing something completely different. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what they're doing, but it's definitely a collectible that everyone has, and sometimes it probably shakes its head a little bit. And I'll leave it at that. I think, and it includes our iconic mascot. But I mean, that's really cool. Like, how does that drive? And then I would say, clearance and campus licensing has been really helpful on how do we enhance the uniforms and the merchandise offerings. I think Blackout's going to have a unique element on the helmets this year. For the Utah State Day, we're going to pay homage to all the great agriculture in this region. And I think the fans are going to be really excited what they see the team wearing that night as well, too. And so it's not just naming. I think it's important for the fan base to understand it's not just naming these nights. It's about what goes into them. And so I think we have some great core nights to celebrate here, but you have to understand that we're going to change up every year. So it's not like a broken record and you see and hear the same thing over and over again.
I think one out of every 3 people at the Fiesta game had the Sugar Skull shirt last year.
Yeah.
So it's huge, and I'm excited to see the new design this year.
Yeah, Clarence got a new design and campus marketing. They've been great partners in this whole thing. And so the fans have a lot to be excited about, and listen, if you think you can do Jake's job, I'll let you wear those shoes for a couple of days because I don't think you want to put in those 80-hour weeks. I don't think you want to put in all the complaints that he receives, but his crew does a tremendous job for us.
Yeah, that's just all the off-field stuff. I mean, we still have a football game that we got to play and produce too. So yeah, that's definitely there's a lot that goes into it.
Speaking of playing football games, it's been a long wait for our home opener this Saturday. Kickoff is at 6:30. So what are some special elements that the fans should be looking for?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of fun stuff going on Saturday. I'll kind of go chronologically. It starts off, we have our Run to Victory. So our tradition where we have all of our new Fresno State students run across the field right before kickoff. So that's always fun. It's always Always great to see the freshmen and the transfers get that special experience to kick off their Bulldog career. On top of that, we're going to have hundreds of educators on the field making a tunnel for the team to run out of. And those educators are a mix of people that, were able to get in early and sign up for it. And then we also have some really special educators that were nominated to be honored. So just to be able to kind of pay our respects to them and let them have a special experience, I'm very excited about. On top of that, we have some great ticket deals going on. We have our Junior Bulldog Kids Club. So anyone Kids Club members get in completely free. You can join our Kids Club on our website. So that's going to be really fun. On top of that, we have a special $15 ticket deal for teachers. They could bring their whole family out for $15 each ticket.
And what about my favorite part? I've been hounding you about all summer long.
So right before kickoff, we are going to have a flyover. We'll have two F-15s fly over, and it's gonna be great. There's Zoom right over the top. So a big reason to be in your seats before kickoff.
Let me tell you, these things are so stealth that I don't think you can see them from your tailgate. You have to be in your seats.
In your seat.
That's the only way you're going to see it. And listen, I love the biggest party in the Valley. We owe it to those guys working so hard to be in our seats at kickoff. I get it. You guys like the party. You got 5 other games to stay at the parking lot and party. Be in your seats. Show Coach Entz, show this coaching staff, show these players that you care about them and you want to be in there at kickoff. I'm telling you, Georgia Southern is no slouch. They had a very good team, won a bowl game last year. We need the fans in there on Saturday, early and loud.
You talked about tailgating, still 6 hours before. Gates are wide open. You can come, what would that be, 12:30? Show up, start your party, have some fun. Just save the last 30, 45 minutes. Make sure you're in the stadium.
Correct. I mean, come on. If you don't have enough, I've lived in some party regions. I've lived in New Orleans. I've lived in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. No one throws a better party than right here in the Valley. But man, if you don't have 5 hours to have enough party in you, and then hopefully if you scream loud enough and you're such a great fan, maybe we're up enough at halftime you can go back outside and party. But no, I don't advocate for that either. But let's find a way to have your butts in the seats at the start of the game.
But the party doesn't have to stop at the tailgate because of Red Hour. So if they get through the gates, tell them what deals they can be expecting.
Listen, Pardini's is a great partner, and so is Tioga Sequoia, and so is obviously Donagy. And so to be able to offer those beverages at a discount rate early on, and some food specials as well too, like you can come in. It's going to be a more affordable beer, more affordable beverages, and so come in, support us. Listen, we're not making any margins on this. We're selling this stuff at our cost. We want to make sure that we have you in there. It's really critically important to our success.
I'm sure the Bulldog Marching Band, the team, when they come out for warm-up, they want to hear and see the fans as well. It's a different feeling when you walk in and you see them all, and you're not just getting there to your seat right before kickoff. Obviously, the flyover is a huge deal, but being there and experiencing the 30, 40 minutes before game day is a huge deal, so make sure that we're getting in there and we're showing our love and support for everyone.
Listen, our fans spend a lot of money on game day, and I understand that they work very hard for their resources and they want to create the environment that is the most fun that they can create. But I want to also remind the fans that we have a large roster turnover this year, and it's going to happen every year the way college athletics is set up. And so if we're going to have some turnover every year, one of the things that Coach Entz and the assistants tell me about the recruiting trail that I talk about is the red wave. And so when these fans come here, it makes it different. That word of mouth goes further and further and further every year. And so it's not enough just to sell 40,000 seats a game. We need to be the best fans possible. And I feel kind of guilty even saying this on here because our fan base is the best fan base in the country. But the reality is that we need to do our part to get the fans in early as well, too, so you can have that last conversation with your friends or people you may see in the red, white, purple lot, whatever lot you park in. But listen, you make a difference, and it's not just on game day. It's if we want to keep having winning football teams, if we, our secret sauce in this valley is always going to be the people. We've won championships with just the people, not with bells and whistles. And we're going to add those bells and whistles. I was hired to get us those bells and whistles. It's coming, let me tell you. But right now, we need the people. These players need to understand how much we care. John Baxter told me this on day one of my job. The people in the valley will care as soon as they know that you care. And I think we've done a hell of a job of that. So these players need to see it as well.
Yeah, some things that you're doing to try and get the fans into the stadium quicker. I know you've had some conversations in the last couple of weeks. What do those look like, and what are you thinking that you might be able to do?
Listen, there was a lot of positives and some negatives that came out of us hosting Shakira. But I think, I heard for an entire year here is that we're doing what we can at the gates because everyone comes late. Well, you know what? We can't change fan behavior overnight. We need to change our behavior. And so I've really challenged our facilities and events team to find new entry points, expand our entry locations, add ticket takers at each gate so there's more scanners at each gate. So I don't think it's going to fix all the problems, but listen, we learned a lot from that show. And, there were some embarrassing aspects. I'm glad that the show was still positive overall for this region. But listen, we, for the fans that think that we sit in our hands, don't discuss these things, don't care about the fan experience, we're going to attack them head on, and we're going to put resources towards them to be able to improve them. I mean, that was part of the great part about the Shakira concerts. The revenue we made, we can reinvest some of that into the fan experience, and that's what we plan on doing.
Jake, you're a Valley native. You've seen our game day experience evolve over time, and you now have your hand in it. So what are some new in-game experiences that you've been focusing on?
Yeah, no, I think it all starts pregame. To Garrett's point, we need to do a better job of giving fans a reason to get in there. So we were doing a few things. Number one, we're expanding our pregame programming. So it used to be, we're not doing this 45 minutes before kick because no one's there. Well, we need to start doing it 45 minutes before kick so it gives people a reason to get in there. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have CK on the mic. We're going to have different giveaways. We're just going to have more fun, engaging content prior to the game early. So that's one big thing. We talked about flyovers. Every game we will either have a flyover or the wonderful blog blitz flying into the stadium. So there will be a reason to be in your seats early in addition to kickoff. So
Something
that's pregame.
in the sky. Just look up.
Just look up. Something cool is going to happen before every kickoff. Just look up. In addition to that, we've worked with our partners at BSP to really tone down the scripts. So our games used to be every media break, there's 4 or 5 things, some things on the video board, and it really, it was great financially for us, but it hurt the fan experience. So BSP has been great this year that we've cut a lot of stuff out of our in-game entertainment. So there's going to be a lot more music, a lot more dance music. The best band in the West is going to play a lot more. We're really focusing on the best fan experience possible. So all that's going to really help us just bring Valley Children's Stadium to life and bring that energy that we need.
Poor Jake has the toughest job because there was games last year when they were close. I'm just texting him. I'm calling him like, turn up the heat. Come on, get the fan into it. Come on, let's go. And so, listen, he does a heck of a job, but it's mission critical for us. Absolutely. To have the best home field advantage in the Mountain West and now into the future Pac-12, we need our fans and we need to do our part to make sure we enhance that fan experience.
So you got to see 6 games at home last year. What are those takeaways? What's your first thing that you're looking forward to seeing again or experiencing again this year when we kick it back up?
The energy on game day around this place. Like, I knew a lot of, I do. Listen, at the football kickoff dinner, you guys did an incredible job with the pump up, the video, and I was sitting next to my wife.
Shout out Matt Murphy.
And yeah, nice job, Matt Murphy. Good job. And I'm sitting next to my wife. And my wife's not a very emotional person. And she goes, Garrett, I have the chills. And she goes, this is the first time out of the place you worked, I feel like we're totally invested. The fans are totally invested. This is the greatest place we've ever lived. And she whispered that to me at the kickoff dinner. And I think that's exactly right. We have an incredible opportunity. There's no other school in the new Pac-12, the Mountain West, whatever level you want to say we're at. We're Power 5, by the way, that has the upside of this place does. It's because of the passion, because of the people. It's to what the Bulldogs mean to them. Our kids in this valley still grow up dreaming of wearing the Bulldog on their uniform. That doesn't happen. Yep. It does not happen but this place. This place is incredible. So it's like Christmas morning. I love game day. I love walking the lots. I love visiting with the fans. I love football. But really, the game is a huge part of it. But just bringing everyone together. We have an incredible platform at Fresno State to really enhance and build on the demeanor of this valley. We create the excitement, and it's an incredible platform on us, and that we don't take lightly. Jake and I talk about this all the time in our external meetings, and so to be able to put a winning product on the field, to create the biggest party in the Valley, we don't take that lightly. You have to live it, and every game day is just, I haven't talked to many people about this. I'd like to figure out a way for us to host 7 home games a year. Like, why only 6? If this is the thing that the Valley revolves around a football game day, let's not just stop at 6 home games. Let's not just stop at one Shakira concert. Like, we have an amazing venue in the middle of 3 million people. We need more events in there, and I hope the majority of the events will always be football games.
Absolutely.
Another new thing, post-game field access. What's your vision for that?
Yeah, listen, I spent 8 years at Oregon, and they, I don't know, my first year at Oregon was at 2005, and they allow fans access 10 or 15 minutes after the conclusion of the game to run around the field. And so now we have some things to work through. I know that the athletic training staff, the medical staff, the equipment staff aren't really a fan of that, rightfully so. They don't want equipment stolen. They have a lot of things that we need to remove from the field. So we're gonna do a small trial run this year that Jake and his crew's been working on with some youth groups and maybe some kids clubs experience that Jake can expand on.
Yeah, we have, each game we have different segmented groups that are going to have that post-game field access just to kind of give us an idea of how it's going to run and how it works out. So first game is going to be our Junior Bulldog Kids Club members, along with some teacher families. Second game is going to be, some heroes and their families, local first responders and their families come down. And really it's just about giving our fans, we said it all the time today, but the best fan experience possible. And why not open up the field post game? So I'm excited to see how that goes this year in the test run and what we could do in the future.
Yeah, listen, we understand. This isn't a Fresno State issue. This is college athletics. Maybe a sports issue. We need to develop younger fans. And my oldest started kindergarten this week, and I'm flabbergasted they can't wear sports logos at school. I know I don't want to get into it, but like that's actually a challenge if you think about it. How in the Clovis and Fresno do we create young fans if they can't wear Bulldog gear to school? Like we had to buy a whole new wardrobe for Brody because that's all he wore was Bulldog stuff, and a few Brewers and Packers stuff that I force him wear as I brainwash him. But I think having these experiences, developing these younger fan base, like that's really important. That's mission critical to our future success.
Yeah, I know. That's a huge thing. Obviously, I have kids as well, and making sure that they've got those T-shirts that they have for Saturdays and then T-shirts for school. When you started talking a little bit about things that we could see this year, you talked about some uniforms, possibly, some new things that we're going to roll out there. You teased a little giveaway that'll be coming at some point.
Yep.
There's another big game that we're bringing somebody special back. Do you want to give a little run around on that as much as you can say?
Yeah, listen, the Ring of Honor is always special, and a great problem we have here at Fresno State that there's probably 100 people deserving to go in the Ring of Honor, and so we obviously have someone that we're going to have. We have a really cool release and announce that we haven't filmed yet for it, but that's going to be at the San Diego State game. This fan base, the community knows him really well. I don't want to give the name yet because I don't want to ruin how cool. Listen, I geek out on video release stuff, and I think we have a really awesome idea with some of our past legends, inviting this legend into the Ring of Honor. And so that's San Diego State game. So buy your tickets for that one now because that's going to be a very fun night.
Yeah, stay tuned for that release when it comes out. Like I said, buy the tickets and get ready for that. Anything else that you guys want to talk about games this year? Anything that we missed that you guys want to make sure that the fans know?
Yeah, listen, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about how awesome our student body was last year and probably previously. I mean, we had over 5,000 students at every game last year. And quite frankly, they came to the games early. They brought the energy. We need them to bring it. Like none of us on this panel have jobs if it isn't for the students. And so the students are a big part of what we're doing here, and we're trying to find more ways to engage them. And so, listen, I just want to give a shout out to the student section. I mean, I couldn't believe the energy they brought last year. Hopefully they can double down on that. It was fun seeing the Greek life across the street, what they do pregame to enhance the biggest party in the Valley.
Loud and rowdy.
So, listen, we got a lot of fun this year, but we have to recognize that they're part of our future fan base too, and they do an incredible job.
to echo Garrett's statement, I think Andrew and Taylor, you guys were here, but pre-COVID, we had good teams. We weren't putting up the attendance numbers we have since COVID, right? After COVID, our student section blew up. Our student section has gone insane. Like pre-COVID, we were at 2,000 students a game. Right now, we're at 5,000. And I don't think it's a coincidence that as the students started showing up, the rest of the stadium followed suit. So the students really have led our fan experience and our attendance the last 5 years. So shout out to the Dog Pound.
They're always the ones starting the wave too. I don't know if there's something special happening in there, but they're usually the ones that are pushing the rest of the fans to start the wave. So
well, and there's a reason that President Jimenez Sandoval is supporting athletics in the way that he can. It's obviously moving to the Pac-12 is another platform for us, but really football games, sporting events are a huge piece of the student experience here on campus. And when we went back and looked at the data, if you figure 5,000 students a game, that's 30,000 tickets that are out. Well, there was 14,000 unique students that came to the game last year. So that out of 24,000 students, I'm not a math major, but I think that's close to 60% of Fresno State students came to at least one game last year. And that's pretty incredible. So that shows you this is a huge, huge critical part of the student experience on this campus. And so that's why it's important. We're not just a marketing arm for the university. We're part of the student experience.
And Jake, if they don't have their tickets just yet, you guys will be on campus. You're still on campus.
Still on campus. We're on campus every day other than Fridays. So find us outside the Student Union at lunchtime or head to the ticket office over at the Save Mart Center or go on GoBulldogs.com. Student tickets are going fast. Every single game last year, the student section was sold out. The only way to guarantee you have a seat in the student section is to buy a season ticket. I can see a world where we sell out the student section just based on season tickets.
And how much are season tickets?
They are only $35.
$35. $35. That is the best deal in the Valley right there.
Yeah.
Well,
Make sure
Garrett,
you get those.
You brought up so many new players, right? And when I'm interviewing the players after practice and I ask them, what do you look forward to about your first game, your first home game? They always say, I've heard so much about this fan base. I've heard so much about playing in front of a packed stadium. I can't wait to walk down the ramp for the first time and come out on the field to a packed stadium. So everyone listening, just know that you make a difference. You really do make these players' careers. And the wins, the losses, yes, they'll remember them, but everyone brings up walking down the ramp and how loud it is and how deafening it is, and that's what they'll remember in their careers. So just keep that in mind and buy those tickets. And the last thing I want to talk about is we just played in a beautiful renovated stadium at Kansas. So what's it going to take for us to get there?
Listen, it's a work in progress. It is a high priority for myself and President Jimenez Sandoval. We've met with 8 to 10 different groups, both on construction, architectural funding, obviously a key part of that.
Yep.
But listen, Travis Goff at Kansas, our athletic director, is a near and dear friend, and being able to tour those facilities and see what they're adding to the experience, having those premium seating options, which we're sorely lacking at Valley Children's Stadium. It's eye-opening, and I think, with the president being on the trip and him seeing it firsthand, it really helps the process. And so listen, I'm not going to put myself in a corner and say this is when we're going to release some plan, renovation or new. It's been a hot topic all summer with the local media, which I didn't think was groundbreaking since my two predecessors have been talking about it. But listen, we know that we need to get there, and to really compete at the highest level, that's going to be critical to us. But beautiful venue, beautiful stadium. I love how they tied the branding back into the region, which is what we are. They're an agricultural region, but they're not the agricultural region like we are in the Central Valley. 25% of America's food does not come from the wheat fields in Kansas. It comes from right here in the Central Valley. And so they can copy all they want, but there's only one Central Valley.
There's only one team that wears the green V, too.
That's exactly right.
Anything else that we missed? I think that we've hit on a lot of great things, a lot of things that fans can look forward to and expect. Anything else before we get to Saturday?
Yeah, one thing I would say is that you saw that this past week we really released a membership model from Fan Rally. Fan Rally is run by a gentleman that I met years ago, but is a Fresno State graduate that has accomplished incredible things in sports. And listen, the goal is to have one price, offer something where fans can get into all of our 7 ticketed events. They'll get a different seat for every game based on availability, as well include a BDF membership. And with that BDF membership, that's really the Valley Co-op Fund, which helps us fund student-athlete recruitment, development, and retention. And so, listen, this is something that's brand new. We need to get more people involved. I've said this all along. This is an affordable price point. We need everyone to do their part at no matter what level this is. And so this is a great way that if you've never had tickets before, you can go to volleyball, you can go to soccer, you can go to football, you can go to men's and women's basketball, softball, you name it, baseball. And so if you want to see our product up close and personal in a unique way, this is something that we wanted to release. Unfortunately, we wish we had it sooner, but we hope to sell about 1,000 packages because A, it's affordable, and B, we know the passion runs deeper than just football in this valley. They support all of our Fresno State teams.
Yeah, tickets are tickets. Make sure you get them. Speaking of those tickets, if you don't have yours for Saturday's game, get them now ASAP at gobulldogs.com/tickets, and we'll make sure that you guys are in the stadium with us. Tailgate lot 6 hours before. Georgia Southern doesn't know it's coming. We're bringing the Valley heat and the Valley fun. So.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys being here today. We appreciate, again, Royal Furniture for helping provide all of this furniture to us here on this beautiful set that you guys get to see.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time here on the pod.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.